Now, have a look at this. This is St Andrew's Primary in Hull, which wants to become a so-called super school. But is it a good idea? We'll be investigating that one in just a moment. East Yorkshire's own tennis star, Katie O'Brien, will be casting her eye over the rest of Wimbledon that's left. And going gone. That's East Yorkshire and Lincolnshire in 200 years' time. Find out if there's anything we can do to stop it later in the programme. Well, raining in Wimbledon, is it on its way here? Maybe it started, I'm not sure, Lisa. The most successful primary schools wants to become the city's first so-called super school, providing education for its pupils right up until they're 16. Gone would be the worry for pupils of St Andrews and their parents about which secondary school to go to. Our social affairs correspondent, Vicky Johnson, now reports.
Pupils of St Andrews C of E School do well. So well, in fact, that the school attracts pupils from the East Riding. But history has shown that the move to secondary education will have a detrimental effect on many of these children's achievements. And it's this which has prompted the head to call for a new through school to educate children from 3 to 16.
We are bottom of the league. We've been bottom of the league for 6, maybe 8 years now. It hurts. And if we can help move it on, and by so doing improve behaviour, address some of the social problems that exist in Hull, we know we can do it.
St Andrews has doubled in size over recent years, and most parents would welcome the chance for their children to stay here till they're 16.
My little boy goes here as well, and he's 7, and I worry about where he'll go for senior school, and because I'm so impressed with this school, I'll be really, really pleased.
I don't know why I haven't been thought of before. It's brilliant. It's a superb school. It's the best school around here by a long way.
I think it's a brilliant idea because I'd rather them stay in the same school than they go through the same school with all the same friends, and I'd be upset of going to a senior school.
The local community too seems to support the idea. More than 1,000 signatures have been collected in just a few days.
Yes, we'd like to sign our petition.
Yeah.
Thank you. Everybody who has signed it has given a comment and saying that they think it's such a good idea and that everybody thinks it's the brilliant thing that should be done for Hull.
Staff and governors alike are convinced that there's more than enough space here to create a new super school. And a feasibility study complete with plans has already been drawn up. But first, the school has to persuade Hull City Council that this radical new idea is a good one. And only then will they have any chance of leading these children to a new and different future.
Well, joining me now is Sarah Draper, the principal of Hindhouse School in Sheffield, which 3 years ago became the country's first so-called super school. Sarah, good evening to you.
Hello.
Was this the right decision for you and your pupils?
For our particular situation, it was, I think, an excellent decision, yes.
In a nutshell, what's the best thing about being a super school?
Well, being a 3 to 16 school for us means that we actually have a far better transition in terms of teaching and learning, progress, and I think generally the development of good learning habits and skills for learning right through from the earliest years right through to 16, and I think those are some of the biggest advantages that we have for pupils.
I mean, for a super school, by definition, it's going to be doing well. I mean, isn't there a danger it's going to become a bit elite and other secondary schools, the other ones who are not super schools, are poor relations?
No, I don't think so at all, because in actual fact I wouldn't myself argue that every school should be a 3 to 16 school. I mean, clearly it's had advantages for our particular situation, but it's certainly something that has to be assessed carefully in terms of the context of the children and the community.
But you know, parents watching would say, oh, that's great, we haven't got to go through the trauma of primary school, leaving primary school and starting secondary school. They're going to want to go all the way through. That's going to cause much resentment if they don't get a place. If we start having super schools and they go to another one, it's going to cause resentment.
I don't think so. Well, it certainly hasn't in the context that we're working in within Sheffield, because each of the schools in our locality have something to offer to the community. They each have, I suppose, what you'd call their unique selling point. Ours happens to be the fact that we are a 3 to 16 school. And
briefly, Sarah, what's your advice for St Andrews Primary in Hull, then, as it embarks on this journey?
I think my biggest piece of advice is to plan your lead-in time carefully. Make sure you've got some very clear priorities for what you want to achieve in the short term, and then look at the medium and longer term, but make sure you've got clear priorities for the short term.
Sarah, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Well, it's an interesting one, isn't it? We'd like to know what you think tonight. Does a super school, one where you start at 3 and finish at 16, sound like a good idea to you? Well, later on this afternoon, we heard from the council in Hull, and they don't like it. They think it'll have a negative impact on good local secondary schools. Let us know what you think in the usual ways. Let me just remind you, the email address, looknorth@bbc.co.uk. We'll read some out, by the way, tomorrow night. Look at the story again. Our hotline number, if you want to leave a message, Hull 314406, and Lincoln, of course, 875184. We look forward to hearing from you. Also tonight, damage